Peptides are powerful and often misunderstood.
And we're here to change that, one conversation at a time.
I'm Dr. Kylie Burton.
And I'm Jessica Bricky.
This is Pep Talk, Peptides Unpacked, Science Made Simple, Results Made Real. Get this, a 2023 analysis of research-grade peptides purchased online found that fewer than half contained what was actually on the label, and several contained active bacterial contamination. When peptides are reconstituted incorrectly, wrong water, wrong technique, unsterile environment, you're not just risking potency loss, you're potentially injecting a bacterial culture directly into your body. Flashbacks of my microbiology class are going through my mind. There is no regulatory body overseeing research-grade peptides sold online. No purity standards, no sterility testing, no contraindication screening, just a powder in a vial and a Google research. Jess, when I heard this, I couldn't believe it, but it's true.
It is true, and it's alarming, and it's exactly why this conversation needs to happen today because people are out there trying to do something really good for their health because they're hearing all the benefits, but not always with the right guidance. And the risks are real, and we're going to talk about that today. So,
We have somebody who's lived it firsthand.
I want to introduce someone who is very dear to me, a friend and a client. Her name is Denise, and she's joining us today with a to share her experience that was genuinely scary. And I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people that are listening. So, Denise, thank you for saying yes to this. I'm so glad you're
You're
here.
welcome. Thank you for having me. You're very welcome. I think it's a great story to get out there.
I want people to know before we start this conversation that Denise is not somebody who was just being careless. This is not her path at all. She did a research, tried to be very thoughtful in what she was doing. She just didn't have necessarily all of the resources, or maybe even was fully aware of some of the risks that could have been involved. So I want people to know that even with the best of intentions, things can go wrong, which is that's the crux of the story that we're sharing. So hopefully people are going to walk away from this conversation not having fear, but with clarity because peptides work. They're extremely powerful. I think in our whole podcast, we've proven that that is the case. The science is real, but sourcing matters, preparation matters. Having somebody in your corner who actually knows your body matters. So it's not a barrier, it's just doing it the right way.
And the good news is doing it right is more accessible than you think. That's what I've learned through all of this.
So Denise, tell me, how is it that you started down this path? What brought you to peptides in general? Like you just started hearing about it? Like what happened?
So I've struggled for years with weight, especially going into menopause. So I finally got my blood work done with my primary. I hadn't gone to see a primary for years and years. And when I did, I was pre-diabetic. And I explained to her that I'm clean eating, I'm moving my body, I'm drinking the water, I'm prioritizing, I'm doing all the things, but yet the weight's not moving. And so she recommended Wegovy. And since I was pre-diabetic, I had an aversion to it because of all the misinformation that's out there. So I finally, because I was pre-diabetic, said, okay, I will try it. I did go to get my prescription at the local pharmacy and it was $2,400. My insurance would not cover it. Um,
Wait, what?
yeah, yes,
$2,400 for what, a month?
yes,
2, 3 months?
yes.
Like
No,
Uh,
monthly.
yeah, mhm.
monthly?
Yes, yes. This is what it is. Yes,
This is
yes.
why the story happened. I wouldn't pay
Yeah.
$2,400 a month either.
They're like you can go get coupons, you can do all this stuff, but there's a lot of red tape to even consider that. And um so what I did is I did find an online that I had started to use for a while, but it's still I got a semi-glutide. It didn't help me at all. Um
Which
and so
just for
then
those people listening that don't
Yeah.
understand, Semaglutide is just a single agonist. So it is the same as Wegovy and Ozempic, which is just a single agonist. It is different from the GLP-GIP combination that we find in Mounjaro or Zepbound. Those are the FDA approved drugs. So people might be familiar with that. So you did originally
Yeah,
start with just the semaglutide
yeah,
because of you were forced into this with the cost. I mean, they were hard to get, and if you could get them, if you could get a
yes,
script written, this is what people were paying.
yes,
And this is not thankfully the market that we're in now, but this is what it was and how
correct.
some people
Yes,
really
yes.
got into this pickle. Right.
And because my primary physician recommended Wegovy, I did the research and I saw that that's semaglutide, so that's why I went with semaglutide.
Right.
And then, I didn't have any luck with that. And then I started dabbling after, I spent 6 months and I started dabbling, learning about peptides online, doing research, following Jess, talking about different peptides and seeing it. And then a friend of mine, Black Friday, there's a big deal. There's a big sale in a local supplement guy who actually provides supplements to the gyms. So she has a friend, it's a friend of a friend. Like that, it's got to
Hmm.
be good, right? Well,
Black Friday. Yeah.
actually, it
It
was
all sounds good to me.
you buy one peptide, you get one free. I mean, no, you buy two peptides, get one free. So, I brought a retatrutide, something. So then they're like, oh, just order your backwater off Amazon and needles. That's where I went wrong. And that it didn't, as smart as I think I am, and in most worlds I am, but it just, in hindsight, um, you can't trust Amazon. Obviously, there's a lot you can't trust, but that's where I personally went wrong in my journey, is I had backwater that wasn't um pure.
Right.
It was sealed, the whole nine
So let
yards.
me just explain. So matter is medications to reconstitute whatever it is that we're talking about. In this case, it's used for peptides. And there's a lot of places you can get it, including Amazon. Now, listen, guys, if we're ordering stuff on Amazon, I don't know. I don't even like people getting their supplements
Yeah,
from Amazon because there are so many people that are out there that are um, not doing the right thing, right? So it is certainly scary, but in the moment, you felt like you were in a trustworthy, safe
it's
place, sourcing well. And what's the big deal about a sealed bottle of backwater? Who really cares? But in this instant, it did matter. And also, just for and other people listening, this isn't the only place an story can happen. It can be in the peptides themselves. It can be in the exposure to bacteria, in the environment that you're reconstituting. There's a lot of other places. In this particular case, it was Denise's backwater that was the source of the problem, but there are so many ways that this can go sideways. So when we're talking about getting it from a friend of a friend, we're talking about the gray market. That's what we're talking about. People also hear a lot about getting peptides from the gray market and they don't know what that means. It basically means getting it research grade peptides. Not all of them have come through standards of making sure that they are pure and they've been tested. I don't know the source of your peptides or where they came from. There are certainly some places that will say that they are, but the backwater that you're mixing with, this is where it went wrong for you. So you were a pharmacist in your kitchen. You took all the precautions, right? Before we get to the injection, you did all of the things you knew to do correctly, right?
correct. The swabbing, the cleaning, making, I got syringes that were already sealed, and wash the hands, the whole yes, yes, to the
Everything
best of my knowledge.
to the best of your knowledge, but to the best of what you were able to do in an unsterile environment, right? So when
Correct.
we're talking about
Correct.
reconstituting in a pharmaceutical lab, that is a sterile, everything in there is in sterile. But in your kitchen, not so much. We've got the dogs running through, we've got the kids touching the counters, we've got, everything is possible to come into contact despite taking all those precautions to be sterile when you're mixing. So You've got your peptides that you've gotten from a friend of a friend. You've got your backwater that you got from Amazon. You've done your research and it was based largely on your starting with your journey from what your doctor prescribed to wanting to do better for your health because you are understanding that peptides are where it's at. So what
100%.
happened?
Yes.
So what happened?
So I started the injections and it was close. So it's somewhat of a spicy injection. So it had like red welts each injection. So I had started them just one like it's a daily 5 times a week. At least that's how I was doing it or was planning to do it. And so I did it maybe 3 times, and then I was, okay, these are really spicy, researching what you can do to make it so it's not so red. And that if like I'm not going to increase to every day if this is what it's like. So then it was like, well, maybe if I add more backwater, based on, Reddit,
Research.
whatever's out there. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'll add more backwater and then that maybe it won't be so spicy. You ice it. There's so many different, I'm a mad scientist for my own body. But I added more backwater. And then at that point, that's where I had a really bad red welt that just got worse and worse, and it got really, really red. It was before Christmas. It was so red. I did a doctor on demand, and she had me draw a circle around it, like it was growing. And then, I started getting rashes. I was running a fever, and I could feel like I went for a walk, and I could feel the pain just going up my leg and then up my side just from the pain from that. And it was like, all right, I got on antibiotics as soon as right away. And then that was through Christmas. I was traveling. I was out of town. As soon as I got back to my home, I went to urgent care. They gave me some new antibiotics, and then I
So were
then
you
want
improving during that time? Like, so with the first, obviously you
so
stopped the injections, but were you improving from that first round?
So it was negligible. So I draw a circle around. She said to draw a circle around. So it kind of started to expand around the circle, but then it did kind of stop expanding. That's really all it did was like stop it momentarily. And then I was taking the antibiotics and it kind of subsided, barely subsided as far as, there was no more pain per se, but it was still red. I hadn't really gone down too much. And then the urgent care put me on a stronger antibiotic. And then when I went to my primary, she gave me that same antibiotic. And she's like, well, we could either go with the same or we could give you a stronger antibiotic. We went with the same, but then I had taken a week off. I thought it would be okay. And it started coming back again. So she gave me the stronger antibiotic
So
and I
that
did
was
two.
two antibiotic rounds and you thought you were good. You
At that point,
stopped
it
that.
was 3 antibiotic
Oh, that
rounds.
was three. Okay.
Yeah, because when I was in Tennessee, I had gotten on Doctor on Demand. I had gotten one round, came back to New York, got a round from urgent care, and then I got a second round from my doctor.
So
Um,
Denise, what's the time span on this? So you did the
so
injection,
it's
you got
I
the
did the
welt
yeah, yeah.
across what, a month or two? What are we looking at timeline
So
with all your antibiotics?
yeah, it was so freaking scary. So it was probably the week and a half before Christmas. I want to say it was like December 11th, 13th, something like that. The following week, I'm like, well, this isn't right. So, um, then I did Doctor on Demand. It was probably the Monday before Christmas.
Oh
And then
gosh,
when I
what a
got
horrible Christmas.
yeah, so then I went through Christmas and came home. 28th went to urgent care, and then I was at my doctor's office a week later. And then I called her back because it seemed like it was going to be okay, like it was taking a turn, and that, I'd already been on how many weeks? It was 6 weeks on antibiotics, and so I think we're okay. And then, I finished out that dosage, and then it seemed to start to come back. And so I called her up, and I'm like, I ran out. It's out for a week, but I feel like now it's coming back. So then she prescribed the higher dose, the it was a different medication that was stronger, or a different antibiotic that was stronger. I was on 2 doses of that, so that was probably 20 days because it was 10 days each dose. That was probably 20 days. Um, after the second dosage, a friend of mine recommended a dermatologist. I had never thought of this, and I wish I had done this sooner. I called a dermatologist and I said, "Well, this is what I'm experiencing. Is this the right place?" And they're like, "No, no, this is the right place. Come and see us." Because I'm like, okay. They said if I wanted to go to the emergency room, I could have it lanced, and that they could do whatever. And I'm like, that was more terrifying. I'm like, can't the antibiotics just do their job? But can I go someplace to have it
Like an
drained or
IV
something?
or something. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I did go to the dermatologist, said, yeah, that's definitely them. But at that point, he did say, he's like, no, this looks like, he goes, your infection is gone. It's just inflamed at this point. Come back in 4 weeks if it still exists. So that was probably, I want to say 3 weeks ago now. So I still have a mark. The nodule is gone. Like it was a big, like you could tell there was like just, what they said is like your body will like ward itself. It'll protect itself, so it'll create a wall around it. So, um, yeah, so it was probably, it was a good 6 to 8 weeks. And then I think, yeah, it was just pretty scary because I've been on IV antibiotics in the past, hospitalized from it. So it was like, okay,
Yeah, this is no joke when you're
yeah,
doing this. First of all, I'm grateful that you paid attention because I think a lot of people would just kind of blow it off. It'll get better, and you thankfully got attention right away. You knew something was wrong. Obviously, you didn't know that it was going to take you down this
ugh,
path for this
right,
long. And here you are, because the time of this recording, we are now close to 3 months. We're getting
yes,
close to 3 months from the time that this happened. So you still have the mark on your skin where it was 3 months later.
that's true. I literally took the injection almost 3 months ago, and I still have a mark. Yep.
That is wild. I'm just going to go over a couple of things for people to kind of understand how serious this can be. When we get an infection in an injection site, which can come from other places, but the risk is much higher when we're doing what happened here. A local skin infection, cellulitis. It's the most common first stage of an infection. So you're going to see redness spreading around the injection site, warmth, swelling, pain or tenderness, and possibly a fever. All those things that you experienced. But if you don't do what Denise did and you leave it to be untreated, you can get an abscess. So the bacteria is going to become trapped and form this pocket of pus. Then you can see like a more painful lump, increased swelling. You might need to drain that, like you were talking about going in, getting that lance to drain it. And the skin is going to become really tight and shiny. So the abscess often does require a lancing, something like that. In your particular case, you just kept fighting through with the antibiotics so that you didn't have to do that. And if none of that works, it can go even deeper and impact muscle tissue, fascia, or other nearby structures. I mean, think some of your organs that could get into trouble. Sepsis. It's a
I
really
was
big
gonna
one. A
say
blood.
sepsis is the
Yep.
worst case. Let's not do
Sepsis is
that.
worse. Yep, worst case scenario. That's going to show up in fever and chills, a rapid heart rate, confusion, low
That's
blood
when your
pressure.
infection goes body, like spreads your entire
It's in your
body.
blood. Yeah, it's big time serious. And left again, if unfortunately we get to the point of sepsis and that we are not able to respond, then we have tissue damage, long-term scarring, and potentially death. So super serious. So thank goodness you paid attention, you didn't ignore it, and you got treatment right away because clearly 3 months later you still have it. It's still
I'm
there. It's
sorry.
still a mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the
Um,
interesting thing that the doctor on demand said is like when you have a subcutaneous injection like that, if it gets infected, it can so easily go throughout your body because of the location of the where we do these injections.
right.
So that's where it's like, don't mess. She's like, whatever, if it starts to get worse in this antibiotic, it's just please see somebody right away. She was, very clear on that. So it was like, all right, it seemed to hold up and seem, but yeah, it just wasn't. Yeah.
Did
So
it
yeah, it's
scare you
scary.
away from peptides forever?
Oh, freak no. No, no.
Because so this is the bigger, even
We
bigger
have a
message,
happy
right? We're
ending.
talking
Yes.
because they're such powerful tools, and you know that you've come through this infection. We know why it happened. You're not afraid of using peptides to help you on your health journey and help do other things for you. So I'm so grateful. Most people would probably be, I'm never doing that again. But I think one of the things, because I know that you have ordered with us with our telemedicine platform now, that there is a difference in sourcing. That's kind of a big deal, like getting safe sourcing for these things to avoid these things.
When I
Woo!
use your peptides to help me heal, I went to a drip bar to get I immediately did a glutathione drip the first of the year, like I did,
That's
so
smart.
yeah, I was like, well, I got Jess on speed dial.
Hey, dial.
I'm like, okay.
She's lucky she has one of those locally to where she lives. A lot of people don't
I
have
was shocked.
access to
Yeah.
that. Right, right.
Yeah.
Now you
So
can
that
get
was very helpful.
glutathione.
And
You can get glutathione through the telemedicine platform
you sure
too.
can.
And I
Yep.
know you've, outside of recording, we've dropped, people do coffee enemas.
Hmm.
If you don't want to do your coffee enema, just switch it out and pump
Yeah.
yourself full of glutathione right then and there.
Yeah. So Denise
Best thing you
also,
can do for your liver.
she has also done one of your favorites, right? You're doing the BPC,
You
right?
see?
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine stack, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you
And
doing the
the
capsules or the
TA
injections?
injections.
So
Sorry.
even after that, she's still doing
I'm
injections,
like,
Even
Kylie.
after that.
I'm
Think I got
like,
nothing on it then. I'm just a wuss, that's all.
Kylie hasn't ventured into the world of injections, so we may have scared her off, but hopefully we didn't. She's confident in where we get our peptides, so I don't think that this is a story that will scare her. Here's the deal. There are so many peptides people think are new. They think that this
right.
is new science. We have been doing our job to educate people to let them know that they have not only been, I mean, insulin 100 years old, GLPs, a couple of decades we've been using them. Actually, a lot of these have been around for decades. They've been used, but you started to see what they call bro science. I don't know if you guys have heard this term or not, but bro
Yes.
science, where
Yes.
everybody, the guys in the gym stumbled into these and they became really experts in using peptides to have better gains in the gym. I'm not talking just muscle. I'm talking about recovery. I'm talking about targeted weight goals, whatever it is. Like they really are the ones that brought it to the forefront, but these were things that were not accessible, right? So there is what they call bro science that's out there that is teaching people how to get them, where to get them, and all that kind of stuff. But we are dabbling in the gray market. We are dabbling in areas of research grade peptides, which are not always necessarily purified. We don't have to, they don't often give you where these peptides are coming from. They may have other ingredients inside them outside of the peptide themselves, which is dangerous to the body. But all of that said, you're also you're risking yourself by reconstituting based on Google research, your dosage. You have no medical oversight. You don't know if anybody's looking for contraindications. You could be putting B12 in your body, and it is the last thing that you need because your B12 levels might be high. So not having any medical oversight is really important, but in this particular case, the infection risk is really great when we're doing all the right things, doing all the right research. Denise is brilliant. She's an engineer. She is one of the smartest people you will ever meet. This was not something that was done without a lot of thoughtful, um, careful research before she made the choice to do this. And unfortunately, she had a not so great outcome. I mean, great in the fact that thank God you're still here. Did the
Right.
infection go that
Right.
well? But yeah, obviously a story to share, which I
Yes.
appreciate you
Yep.
sharing with us.
Yes.
We should get you on a follow-up in like a year. Now that you've got the right source of peptides,
Yes.
now
Yes.
how are you feeling? We'll follow up on that.
Well, I definitely feel like the healing has helped tremendously just with the Wolverine and the TA. What is it? What's the other one I'm taking? The
Yeah,
TA.
our other favorite,
One.
TA1, Thymosin
That's it.
Alpha-1.
That's it. Yep. I'm a month too. So I started that in January, and that was really when things just started to zap right out. Like it was like that, like, because I had that, what did you call it, the abscess? Like
Yeah.
I had that abscess and it just would not go anywhere. Like it was like barely moving. And until once I started, like it was like
Well, so people know the
It's
reason
awesome.
that I suggested that stack to Denise was for the healing benefit. So we had the BPC that Kylie loves, that I love. We talk about it a lot because that's going to help heal soft tissue, smooth tissue, and gut health. All of that is really important because we know that she has this injury. But also the TA1, which helps to modulate the immune system. So we needed her immune system to be incredibly strong to help fight this infection. So TA1, we've talked about this before, it's for people that have autoimmune condition, that their immune response is overactive, and we have people that are maybe always getting sick or don't heal really well, and we need that to boost up the immune system. And in this particular case, she'd been on many antibiotics, which is going to knock down that immune function, not because she wasn't doing okay previously, but with 5 rounds of antibiotics or whatever it was. I think it was five, right? Six,
Six.
6 rounds. Okay. 6 rounds of antibiotics. Your immune system was not happy. So the TA1 really has come in here. And like you said, in a month's time, and that and the BPC really saw a major like improvement in what you were doing. So I love that for you. I'm really glad. Thank you for sharing your story, Denise.
Yeah,
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 thank you for being very willing to open up and be like, look,
yeah.
this is what
No,
happened to me. Please be careful and do things right.
that's it. It's yeah. Like big pharma is making it really hard for us to get what we need. And then, we all, longevity, health, it's in the
We all want
forefront
to
these days.
feel our best in the long run, feel better longer. That's all of our goals.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're
Yeah.
10 or 20 or 75, like that's our goal. And I'm glad that we have the peptides in a much safer source now to get access to them
Yes,
on
yes.
a bigger scale.
Yeah,
Because
I
that's really what it
thousand
came down
percent.
to is
Yeah.
accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I 1,000% believe in the peptide. So I was like, I'm getting them somehow. Now I'm getting them right.
I'm not giving up on myself yet. Love it.
Well, listen, if today's conversation sparked something in you, if you're curious about how those peptides work, we talk about it over and over again in our podcast. But I think one of the most important takeaways here is how that we are going to access peptides safely and responsibly. You can follow me on Instagram. I am jessb.talkshealth. You can also get me on my website, b2b withjess.com/peptides. Either way, you can find your path to start sourcing peptides safely. In there, I also will share lots of education around them so you can continue learning, and obviously all the other wonderful episodes of this podcast that Kylie and I have put together. Kylie?
Speaking of infections, let's dive into the infection markers in our blood work on the
Yeah, good
next
idea.
episode and talk about where you can see them, not necessarily like visibly on the skin like Denise, but on the low grade level where your body's constantly fighting these things and you're just not feeling the way that you want to feel. Let's dive into our labs on the next approach. If you'd like to grab your mini blood work and peptides guide, go to my website at Dr. Kylie Burton, where you can also order your peptides and find resources on how to incorporate this into your business as well. I'm Dr. Kylie, and this is Jessica. Thank you, Denise, for joining us today. This
Yeah.
is Pep Talk,
Yeah.
Peptides Unpacked.
Go
Sorry.
ahead. No,
Go
you're
ahead.
good. Go ahead.
I just met with my doctor yesterday doing my blood work, so I'm happy to report that it's all good. So there is the markers for infection, and there's none. My blood is good, so I'm like, oh, hallelujah. So thank you,
Yay, good.
thank you for your
Congratulations.
peptides. Thank you, yes, for your
Good.
guidance. It's great.
It
There's
is
nothing
great, and
left.
peptides are great. And the more we learn, the more we're fascinated by them. Like I've reiterated multiple times, I want to try them all at some point. Just and then just to see what happens, how I feel on each one. But we do have our favorites to get started. If you are thinking about getting started or switching over onto our platform, we recommend both. But our favorites are the GLPs, the BPC 157 and TB 500, as you mentioned beforehand. We love TA1, and what's newly available is MOTS C. And when you're talking about energy and healing cells, MOTS C is a must. So, Denise, I bet that one's going to come down your pipeline at some point this year.
Bring it.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.